genius of rock and roll.
Well, hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Sorry about that. I hope you're doing okay. I always forget to turn that off. Hope you're doing okay. It is Tuesday. Wow, man, this week is going by kind of slow, huh? Maybe it's because I did yesterday and it makes it seem slow. Anyway, we're gonna have a fun day. I've got Kelly Laughlin here with me this morning. He's hiding in the back doing the thing at the place, and we're gonna have some fun and talk about stuff because that's what we do. We're gonna blaspheme and talk about Jeebus and all this other stuff. I'm to the believer that Jesus was kind of a bit, if Jesus was real at all, Jesus was something of a scammer, a snake oil salesman, that sort of thing. We'll be back in just a minute. You're not going to believe this. I didn't believe it, but I mean, I was completely blown away whenever I heard it. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Jesus was a Jew, and as such, he was circumcised 8 days after his birth. And guess what? You guessed it. They claim to have the actual foreskin of baby Jesus. Well, 5 or 6 different churches each claim to have the actual foreskin of baby Jesus. But surely one of them is bound to be authentic, right? And I'm sure they put... And I'm sure they put it on display from time to time, as Catholic folk are wont to do. So you can probably even go look at the dick flesh of your holy savior if you want to. All right, we are back. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great week so far. Let me bring up my co-host for today, Kelly Laughlin. Good morning, Kelly. How are you doing today?
Morning. How are you?
So far, so good.
I hope everyone's having a good morning.
Yeah, yep. And you, how are you doing? You've been having some health issues. I've been wanting to ask, and see how you doing.
I look pretty good, so I must not be doing too bad. I have an appointment with a surgeon tomorrow, so I'll know a little bit better where I'm at. So
understood. Okay. Well, we're reading for your prayers, thoughts, and prayers. You were telling us
magic spells.
Yes, true enough. Hashtag truth. We'll sacrifice a goat-scented flesh candle for you. You were telling me before the show about that fancy tie you got there. That is a fancy tie. Can you show me that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
I was able to wear it once before.
Okay.
But when I wore it, the person who sent it to me for my birthday was not here. So I wore it again to make her here because this is where I know her from.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure she knew I got it. And I appreciate it. I think it's cool as all hell. It's like lava. See, it's really cool.
It is. It is really cool. Guess who's in the chat and recognizes that tie?
Oh, yeah. There you go. See?
There you go, Miss Non Sequitur.
It was you.
No, Siri, I was not talking to you. Cancel. Siri. Okay, that was awkward. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I'm glad to have Kelly with me today. Miss Ryan will be with us today, tomorrow, or Fridays. So she's only going to be with us on Mondays and Thursdays going forward. Unless her schedule changes or some business. But Kelly is here for Tuesdays, and Kelly will hang out with us, and we'll do stuff, and we'll take phone calls. John Hudson, good morning. John Hudson says, the tie is lava, and so is the floor. That's awesome. Thank you, John.
I used to get in so much trouble climbing around.
Oh, yeah.
To get in so much trouble as kids climbing around on the dressers and stuff, protecting the floor was lava. My mother hated it.
Good morning, the Happy Heretic. Well, let me say hi to everybody, and then I'll come back to the Happy Heretic. Let me pin that, though, so I don't forget it, because I do that sort of thing. Where is Rion? Ryan is not going to be here anymore, Jackie, she's only going to be with us on Mondays and Thursdays. She's got a schedule change. So let me say hi to the Beard of Empathy, Kinsey. Good morning, Kinsey. Matthew Mulkeen. Good morning, Matthew. Nice to join. Thank you for joining us. Kiwi Banana. All you wonderful people. The Atheist Mechanic. Fern Lovebond. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Wow, all you wonderful people. And Andrew. Good morning, Andrew. Valinsky says, Dumbledore has never lied, and I am going to...
I saw Dr. Ben way up there, too.
Yeah, Dr. Ben was here. I did remember seeing Dr. Ben. Is Dr. Ben still here? Hello, Dr. Ben. I had somebody, John Fabiano, on Facebook hit me up yesterday and goes, hey, man, I saw you on the Dr. Ben's, what is it, the drinks show? Man, I forget the name of the show. Drinks for alcoholic, atheist people, whatever it's called. Sorry, Dr. Ben, if I forgot the name of your show. Tell us the name of your show. Because it's been a while since I've been on there. I'm a bad person. But anyway, they saw it and they enjoyed it. They thought it was a fun thing. Of course, I enjoyed it, but I'm not really a drinker. You know, I don't really drink so much, and it's more kind of a drinking thing. I mean, I did drink, but I'm not much of a drinker. It's kind of what I mean to say. There we go. No, it wasn't the trans.
My body doesn't let me drink anymore.
No? Yeah, it's bad. Let me see here. I can't find it on this thing. Anyway, no, it's not the transatlantic call-in show. It's the, man, I can't think about it. It's for drink. Oh, I can find it here on this channel. Well, maybe if it goes by, I don't remember the channel name. I know it's saved. Anyway, lots of things going on. I'll see if I can find it later. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. Okay, so Happy Heretic says Jesus was a liar. That's an interesting question, but I'm going to have to say no, because I don't believe Jesus as he was written was an actual person. Okay, you don't believe that Jesus as was written was an actual person. And see, that's a kind of a thing. And I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm receiving what you're broadcasting. What I got to do here is I got to go, for the sake of argument, we just presume, if you will, Jesus was real. We're going to presume for a moment that he was real. And then, was he lying? Was he a scam artist? What, I've heard a lot of people whenever he says something about he'll come back within their lifetime, talking about, they mean something about the when the second temple fell in 70 AD or something, but that still wasn't even within his lifetime, or their lifetime. What are your thoughts?
How about a third option?
What's the third option?
The third option is that he was mentally ill. He was just a human being who was mentally ill.
But I guess that could be entirely possible. I don't see why not. I mean,
that he really believed these things. He was really disillusioned and believed these things that he was telling people.
Yeah.
If he was real.
If he was real. Yeah, we're going on the presumption that he was a real person. I mean, because I don't know about you, I have a hard time believing that he was a real person. There are lots of people have been created throughout history who were not real. And just because he is worshipped by people doesn't mean he's real. I'm just saying. But whenever they find proof that he was real, contemporary writings, would be nice. But until then, but then again, so therefore we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Was he a liar? What was going on? And of course, it could have been that he was just mentally ill and did believe these things. We've talked about various things. I did a video on how Christianity or all the Abrahamic religions are essentially a scam right from the beginning. They're like, give me your goat and I'll get rid of your sins for you. Really, really good for goats. So, yeah, it's a good question. Because Jesus would tell the
Something
rich.
To think about anyway.
Yeah, well, he would tell. Well, yeah, there is that. But he would, as far as the scam artist, let's consider that Jesus would tell the rich to do what with their money? What did he tell the rich to do with their money? Give it unto the poor, right?
Give it to the poor.
Yeah. What did he tell the poor to do with their money?
And wouldn't that make him a socialist?
Well, yeah, but what did he tell the poor to do with their money? Give it to God. Give it to the church.
Give it to the church, right? We have the story of the woman that gave only the two small coins she had left to the church.
So essentially, the rich give their money.
And she gave more than everyone because it was all.
Right. Essentially, though, the deal is the rich are supposed to give their money to the poor give their money to the church. Essentially, the church gets the rich's money. It gets all the money. See, it's a trickle down. The first trickle down scam.
Yeah, there you go. For supply side economics.
Yeah. Good morning, Coffee Town Atheist. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, Harold Potter. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan, good morning. Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for leaving it open and doing the thing and supporting the channel. Ryan is awesome. She's just here so she can listen to us talk bad about her. That's what it is.
Yeah, she wants to hear what we're saying behind her back.
Right. So, whether it's the scam of the give me your goat and I'll turn away your sins, or whether it's the scam of give your money to the rich, give your money to the poor give your money to the church, or whether it's the prayers for pesos, with the Catholic Church, they were doing the indulgences, selling access to heaven or to limited time in purgatory or whatever they were doing. This is all a scam. It's a scam, right?
And I was just thinking of the prosperity gospel. I was just thinking of the prosperity gospel that we had so prevalent today. Send us all your money and everything will be great in your life.
Oh yeah. I remember I'm a child of the 80s. I was a teen in my 80s and 90s in that business, and so I was there with all the Jim Baker, and all those evangelical priests up in the television all the time. Give me your money, Jimmy Swaggart. Jimmy Swaggart, guys. I get my Jimmys in. Anyway, give me all your money, and you'll be blessed. And these little old ladies all across the country are writing checks out for their savings off to this guy. Now, I know this is, I know this, I want to say this is going to be something, you're going to think this is mean. But all those people who gave their money, all of them, are selfish, horrific. They weren't giving their money away. No, they were giving their money away thinking they were going to get wealth beyond belief. It's not that they were thinking they were doing good by giving the money. No, it's like gambling. I'm going to go there and give you $10 to get $100. They didn't go, I'm going to give you $10 so you can give it to the poor. They weren't doing that. They were trying to multiply their own wealth. This is greed. This is Christian greed. And they're capitalizing on it. Is that weird? That's weird. Ted Tilton, is he the guy who used to talk in tongues? Tilton, is that him or somebody else?
Yeah, Ted Tilton did used to talk in tongues. Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
I was living in a college town back then, and I knew a bunch of guys, and they had a drinking game they would play at night watching Ted Tilton, and that was one of the things whenever he started talking in tongues, he had a drink. So, yeah, he did talk, and he's still around, too. Believe it or not, he is still around.
Wow. It's amazing that some of these people are around and not in prison. Now, like Jim Baker went to prison. Not enough of them, though. Talking in tongues, you mean gibberish. Yes, atheist mechanic. I remember I was probably like 11 or 12 years old when I went to stay with a friend, and they were going to go to church, and they were talking about their church, and they're talking about talking in tongues, speaking in tongues. I was like, what is speaking in tongues? And essentially, the Spirit moves you and starts speaking through you. And I was like, okay, what's that sound like? And they're like, well, you just, it just kind of comes out. And, I'm like, well, that's just stupid. But I was young, I was not that kind of Christian at the time, right? I was a Christian.
That's
just not that kind of Christian. Go ahead.
One of the things that, like, when I talk to people who came out of churches where they do speak in tongues and had spoken tongues at one point in their life, I always like to ask them, were you actually being moved by a spirit, or were you just faking it so that, with everybody else, or you belonged? And every single person has said, I was just faking it to belong. So,
yeah. Well, Satan makes them say that, of course. Obviously.
Of course. Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's all powerful. He can make people do anything. That's fantastic. Is
he all powerful?
Isn't he? Wouldn't he? I mean, I sure think he's more powerful than God, because God's people have to gather together once a week to reassure themselves that he exists and all this. But we don't. We sin all the time. We blaspheme. Satan licks our ears with wonderful, delicious sins. You don't hear angels doing the opposite and pulling people over to the light like you do. I'm just saying. It sure seems like Satan has a lot of power. A lot of power.
You don't really ever hear somebody being possessed by an angel, right?
I wonder why that is. Wasn't there a TV show about that?
There might have been. I'm not a big TV
Oh, it was
guy,
touched
so.
by an angel. Oh, it was touched by an angel. Then after the Catholic priest thing came out, they probably decided to change the name. I don't know. It's just weird.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious. Good morning, Yamara says, God isn't in a building. God isn't a religion. I know I'll get attacked with hatred, but it's okay. But Jesus is real. Knock at his door. Okay. Yeah,
give us a call. Let's talk.
Yeah. Well, we open the calls after the half hour. Just letting you know, Kelly, so you don't.
Oh, okay. Well, later on, give us a call. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll do the thing. One of the thing, and that's okay, Yamara. Normally, to be fair, my people in the chat, my friends, don't really go after people whenever they come and profess things like that. But they don't tend to just for that. It's whenever they start making other claims or pressing or preaching or dropping scriptures and all this other, just be cool and people will talk at you and they'll be cool. They might challenge you, like, why do you believe this? But they don't normally become jerks unless you're a jerk first. We shall see. Ask Kelly. He's a jerk all the time, and they're up in his business every. Oh man. Let's see.
I don't know how, but I got a reputation for being a nice guy, and I don't know how the hell that happened, to be honest.
I don't know. Lies spread faster than the truth, I guess.
Everybody that knows me in real life, they all hate me. Yeah. So.
I just want to say something. I would gently ask Andrew to turn off your cap locks. I mean, there's some chat bots in the channel, some moderators, some channels altogether make that a complete rule for a reason. If you can't do that, that's okay. I'm just saying. Yeah. Simulation. Press start. Good morning, Simulation. Press start. Says, I can't help it. This is how I talk. I'm sorry. I can't help it. This is how I talk. That's how it seems when you type with all caps. Now, I did actually know the reason why I kind of stumbled on that was because I kind of went off on somebody, dude, with all caps. And the deal was that he was hard of hearing or hard of seeing. He was older and working off a tablet, and it was easier here for him to see with the all caps. It's like, okay, I get it. Fine. So I try not to be a bitch about it, but I can actually make it stop if you're going to be a dick about it. Simulation pressure. I don't expect you have the same problem. The whole restaurant can hear my story because that's how I want it. It sounds like those people you ever see them walking through a busy place talking on their phone on the speaker phone. Like, tell Timmy I said hi. No, Timmy, the one with the rash. Yeah, Timmy. No. Oh, it's Samantha now. Well, son of a bitch. You know how they are, these weird people. I like this one. Boom out of your chat. Yeah, boom me out of your chat. Boot me. Oh, boot me out of your chat. Like for free? Or should I charge you for that? I mean, it's up to you. I don't know why it would be like the hill you'd want to die on, though, really. I mean, I don't get it. Why you'd come in for that. Is that all you got? I mean, is that going to be your whole flash in the pan? Is you insisted on typing with all caps like a 7-year-old? Yeah. All right, I'll do it. I mean,
you're going to die on the hill of all caps.
Yeah. I mean, I give you just like a moment to change your mind and just see if you want to hang out. Okay. You'll do me a favor. Yeah. I kind of doubt it. But I'll help you with that. Yeah, yeah. Because oftentimes they'll say, "I'll leave," and then they just sit in the chat and stir up shit. But not you today, my friend. Not you. So, let's see. Who was our other friend who was doing the super chat and alt caps? I just want to give you a chance too to see if did you already leave? Okay, we're having some fun. People were playing fun games today. Don Lachey, thank you for joining us this morning. Dion. Dion's like, fuck you, man. Thank you for that, Dion. I understand. Dion, yes, Dion. All caps people are old, says Mr. Peabody. Young kids agitating are thin-skinned Christians. Yeah, it's what is it about that? I don't understand. Dairy Fiend is here in the chat this morning. Says at church you could never give enough money, but J.R. Bob Dobbs offers eternal salvation, only a single payment of $44.99. If you haven't leased your soul to Bob for safekeeping, you're still pink. Yeah. Well, there was one priest.
You got to really get in with Bob Dobbs.
There was that one priest who had that.
Just to protect yourself from the Mexicans.
Who is Bob Dobbs? I don't guess I know who Bob Dobbs is.
Bob Dobbs is he's the head of the titular head of the Church of the Subgenius, and it's one of those like parody religions, like the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Mm-hmm.
It started, I'm thinking probably mid to late 70s. They actually had a show on public access in Texas for quite a while.
Yeah, gotcha. Let me just kind of shift gears real quick. Jitten in the chat, thank you for dragging us back to the show topic. Says, what is it that you're referring to in the question you put for the stream specifically? The Gospels are long, so you'd have to be more specific. Jal, I think what Jitten is asking is, which time? Which time did Jesus lie? Anything specific, or was the entire thing a lie? Was it a lie when Jesus said, I'll come back? Was it a lie whenever Jesus said he was sacrificed? He didn't even say he was sacrificing himself. Which part was a lie? Yeah. I guess there's probably a lot. Anyway, we'll start taking calls here in a few minutes, and we'll discuss it for them whose wishes to call. Zarkar says, I'm 75 and I don't use caps. I'm in my 50s and I don't use caps. You know, despite being a serial masturbator my entire life,
I'm not using them.
I can still see. Anyway, I appreciate, thank you for the question. Yeah, really, it just depends. There are so many different things that could be considered, and that's a good point. My notion is there are a lot of, I'm thinking about doing a series on Jesus about why he wasn't a sacrifice and why it was all a scam, or why it was this or why it was that, or why it wasn't necessary, or all of this business. But in this particular case, it's my thinking is like he told them certain things and those certain things didn't come true. Yes, Jesus died for a lie. There you go. I think that too. I was thinking that. What if my caps lock key is stuck? Well, you know. Anistat, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Somebody caught the joke. I thank you. Dion Lachey says Jesus never existed. And see, that's the thing. We agree on that generally, whether Jesus didn't. I'm one of those who thinks he probably didn't actually literally live. But I would be willing to accept evidence if they came across it. But yeah, for this case, for this argument, what we're essentially saying is we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. If Jesus lived, we're not conceding that he was a spiritual being or anything beyond the fact that it was a human person who lived. That's all we're conceding here today. But if he did live, was it a lie? Was he a liar? Was he a scam artist? Was he leading these people, getting all their wealth? You know, what's going on? That's kind of a thing. Do you believe
does it matter whether he?
Yeah. We have a lot more evidence for Alexander the Great.
Really matter what?
Sorry, go ahead, Dad.
We do have, yeah. I was thinking, does it really matter if he was a real person or not at this point in time? I mean, the myth of Jesus has been so blown up that, that to the believers, would it really matter if he was alive or not? It kind of reminds me of, in the 19th century, there was a common phrase that people would say to propose how much faith they had. And it was, I would even believe that Jonah swallowed the whale. Now, think about that. The person had so much faith, they would believe that a person swallowed a whale.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, it doesn't really matter whether he was real or not at this point in time. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I could agree with that, too. But so was the fictional or non-fictional Jesus a liar? We got to get past that point, man. It doesn't matter whether he was real or not real, or if he was fucking Spider-Man. Was he lying? Did he mislead the people in what he told them? And see, I actually need to learn more about the New Testament. So I'm going to start working on learning the New Testament. I mean, I know what I think I know. But the whale swallowed Jonah. I think Yamara, I think you missed what he was saying. Regular believers believe the whale swallowed Jonah, but super believers would believe it if God told them that Jonah swallowed the whale. I hope I said that slowly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Carl Sagan, Neil Tyson. Sorry, the chat moved up so fast. Good morning, Miss Non-Sequitur. Jesus said he would return before the people he was speaking to died. He did not. That's really my main sticking point. It has been for a long time. One of my earliest questions and doubts in the validity of the remember the Bible's supposed to be inerrant. It's true. That was one of the first things, like, really? But there are a lot of people who believe he did come back, and we're living post that. We're living after. I'm like, man, you guys believe anything, as Kelly just demonstrated. Good morning, Bumblebee. We got Bumblebee and Dairy Fiend over in the
I've actually seen
Discord. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I've actually seen gravestones from back in that time period that have that quote on them. That I would even believe Jonah swallowed the whale. It was a really prevalent admonition of faith, right?
It almost sounds like something I could hear, like hymnal songs being sung. I could see that. That sounds like something I would not be surprised if there were a song out there. Yeah. There are a lot of things. One of the things that was, speaking of Jonah and the whale, there have been a few times whenever I've brought up how the God of the Old Testament never does anything rationally or peacefully or calmly. It's always with hate and destruction and threat of pain and fear and all that business. And oftentimes people will bring up the story of Jonah and how in the story, God did not destroy the city of Nineveh. And that's true, I guess. But he was going to, but they repented. He was going to. They were under the threat of destruction. So even that's a bad example. I haven't really found any good examples.
But Nineveh was destroyed eventually.
See, but not for that. I mean, we got to give them that, right? I mean, not for that. Right? Am I wrong?
Right. No, you're right. I'm just saying that God did if you believe in God, then God did eventually destroy Nineveh anyway, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it's like it's just like talking about Dr. Doom, and if you believe in Dr. Doom, then he actually did destroy Gotham. One of those things. Good morning, Godwin. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Jesus lies. John. Oh, yeah. John. Thank you for that, Mr. Peabody the Skeptic. Jesus lies. John 7:7-10. Matthew 7:7-8. Matthew 18:19-20. And Mark 16:17-18. For those who are interested, go look them up. I would. They sound interesting to me. Some didn't taste death. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. To be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord. Anyway, let me ask you, Yamara, it really does sound like almost everything you say about what you believe in your religion is just something you've made up or something somebody else made up and told you. It doesn't really, they don't really seem to be terribly accurate. I'm just saying. I don't know. Welcome to the channel. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Peabody, care of Justin Deconstruction Zone. Oh, let me get that. I'm going to have to steal that. I have to steal that. Satan compels me to steal that text. So there we go. Let me see if that's going to work. Look at that shit. It did work. Awesome sauce. Let's take a quick break. Whenever we come back, we'll turn on the phones and see what happens. We may or may not take calls. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. Well, they'll be there. Yeah, we'll do that. Here we go. We'll be back in just a minute. What should we do? I think oh yeah, let's do this one. We'll be back. Do you have a loved one who's on their deathbed, but they've yet to give themselves up to the Lord?
Are you sure you don't want to come to Jesus?
No.
This is your final chance.
No. Worried they're headed to the fiery pits of hell.
Your very last chance.
No. I've been wicked and sinful. I deserve to burn in the hot place.
As you wish. Farewell, my heathen husband.
Farewell, my... Well, fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanigan's line of post-mortem baptismal kits. No more worries about being miserable alone forever. Be a good Christian and share that eternal pain and suffering with the ones you love. I'm in hell. Not as hot as I thought it'd be. Kind of feels like Houston, minus the humidity. Hello. My favorite drink crafted to perfection. Ooh, and some dank ass weed.
I can't bear to be down on my face chanting, holy, holy, holy is the Lord, every day, all day, for all eternity, by myself.
Wow, is that George Carlin? And Alan Turing, look at that. Carl say, oh, I am so honored. You've been my hero since I was a kid. Neil deGrasse Tyson, what are you doing here? Oh, I get it. I get it. Schrodinger's heathen. Very cute, you. Very cute. That's fantastic. Oh, what is that? What is? It's holy water. Oh, it burns. No, this isn't where I want to be. Pabst Blue Ribbon and a Marlboro? No! Father Flanigan's post-mortem baptismal kit. Dead kid tested, Mother Teresa approved. Is that the Pope and John Paul? Jim Jones and Jimmy Swaggart, huh? I could see that coming. Neil deGrasse, what are you doing? Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord.
Thanks, Father Flanigan.
Damn them to an eternity in heaven for only $59.99. They wouldn't appreciate it, but you'll feel better, and that's the point, isn't it? Get yours now. Your heathen loved one's time is running out. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. This is some bullshit. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord.
Now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
I forgot to turn on the thing. Anyway, we're there. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I am Jeremy. I'm glad you enjoy the commercials. Thank you for that. I was sitting there with the evil one last night. The evil one is my wife, and we were trolling Facebook. I was trolling Facebook, and we were seeing College Humor. Have you seen the channel College Humor? They put out things like... Adam ruins everything, and funny. It's funny stuff. And I noticed we were, you know how the algo gets dialed in. I started getting all these skits in my thing, and I was like, man, I do that. That's really cool. And I was kind of comparing my work to their work. It kind of motivated me to get my ass in here and do another one. The evil one is dying for me to do a Insta-Jew, pull out the slack, give it a whack commercial, but I just haven't got there. Jeremy for life for $15 says Jesus is king. That is I don't mind taking your money to do that. We actually, Jeremy, I'll tell you, I do appreciate it. Thank you for your support of the show. When I first started the show, I don't know if Kelly remembers this or not, but we had a guy who kept fighting with our mods in the chat, and he started paying me money to try to get me to allow him to talk shit to my mods. I was like, nah, I was like, you keep your money. He for the longest time, his was the largest single, it was $50. It was the largest single contribution to the channel. I was like, man, I don't want your money. I don't want your money that bad. Yeah, people are cool. I think people are cool. I understand the spirit of it, but not in his case. That was literally, I'll give you $5 if you let me shit on your mods. No. Thank you. I'll pass. There may be other people in the chat who remember that. Yeah. So there are a lot of things about Jesus, and that's kind of a question. I need to know more myself about Jesus, about the story of Jesus. I want to lean on people who know more. I guess like Dan McClellan, he's a good person to learn from. And then of course other studies. I got to be honest, I really find it difficult personally to learn about the Bible from a believer, from somebody I know who is a believer. I feel like I'm getting a tainted view of what the message is, if that makes sense. Not that I don't discard it out of hand.
Sometimes that tainted view is good to get, so you have a better understanding of where that person is, where his thinking is coming from. Right?
That's true. If you already know, right? But if you're looking for knowledge for yourself to be your core knowledge, you want the truth first. Yeah.
But with me though, like a lot of atheists who have deconverted out of Christianity, I was out of Christianity by the time I was 12. So I don't really remember or know as much as everybody else did. I wasn't really in a Christian mindset like a lot of other atheists are. So for me, it really helped to go back and talk to Christians and get a better understanding of where they were coming from. So that helped me. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but
you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I agree. You and I are on the same page. I just think we're kind of missing. We're on the same track. We're just missing each other. I know what I'm saying. I think you would get it.
Yeah.
William Graves is here. Good morning, William Graves. Jesus stands at the right hand of Yahweh, or Jesus doesn't make sense. That's one of the things I always thought too. Does Jesus, now Kelly, correct me, have you heard this? Maybe I'm misremembering. Jesus sits at the right hand of God. Is that wrong? Or is it Joseph Smith sits at Is it Jesus?
I've heard Jesus does, but how do you do that if you're the same person?
That's where I was going to go. I thought it was Jesus sits at the right hand of God and Joseph Smith sits at the left hand of God. I think that may be it. And then there's somebody else at the middle hand of God, and there's the back hand of God, and there's the top hand of God that comes out of his head.
Somebody got a feet.
Yeah. So these are all good things. But I've been wanting to do. Thank you. Jake Green is here. Good morning, Jake Green. Still waiting for you to show Jesus ruling in Israel, or don't you know what a king is? That's part of the things that we've discussed on the Bible. Part of the thing I want to put on there about my little series about how Jesus wasn't a sacrifice and none of that business was how let's see. Sorry, I lost my.
I was just thinking I'd be willing to sacrifice a day and a half of my life to get that kind of publicity.
Very true. Thank you for the super chat. Atheist Mechanic says, Jesus is king of nothing. LOL, had to make it accurate, $10. Thank you very much, the Atheist Mechanic. The reason why I was thinking about Jesus, though, is that this claim of being king is part of the Christians are be like, well, the Jews sacrificed him to God, essentially for us, for our soul, right? But no, they didn't. Jesus was killed because he claimed to be a king, the king of the Jews. And they're like, you're not our king. And they turned him over to the Romans. That is not a sacrifice. Thank you for bringing that up. the atheist mechanic, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of the things. There was supposed to be Jesus, didn't there one deal where he rides into the city? The Messiah is supposed to come into the city riding a horse or 2 donkeys or some business. And
an ass.
Yeah, but there's conflicts. So from one, I don't know. I got to learn about the New Testaments. There's so many conflicting stories between the New Testaments. Later, the marvelous Jesus, take care of y'all. All is that supposed to be? I don't know what the LL marvelous Jesus is. I don't get it. Go off. Good. Look at that. Is that Harris? Harris, do you put Allah is a liar on your streams? No, not generally. No. Don't do that. No. We
don't usually get people calling about Allah. That's the thing too.
Yeah, and
right?
also
and Allah, and it would be the same as saying God is a liar, right? Not that Allah is. If you're saying Allah is a liar, it would be like the same as saying God is a liar in Christianity, not that Jesus was a liar. You'd be closer to saying Muhammad was the liar in Islam. And I'm going to agree to that. Muhammad was a liar.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal, though. I know where they're going. I was just kind of avoiding. Here's the deal, though, my friend. They are not forcing Muhammad on my children in school right now in the United States. They are not forcing Muhammad's rules through the Supreme Court in the United States on women about abortion right now. No, that's Christians. So until Christians stop forcing their shit on me, they're the ones I want to focus on. Islam, I'll deal with Islam later if Islam and I have, but other than that, right now the Christians are here and they're the ones being ugly in my grill. So you go talk to them about why they're doing that. I saw somebody say, that's a good one. I saw something in the chat. Let's see, a new face. David the Boxer, you mock Jesus at your own peril. Why? Let me ask you why, David. Is it because Jesus is a merciful, loving God or a Savior? Is it because God, the God of the Bible, is a merciful, loving God? Is it a reasonable, sane, loving creature, or is it a vicious, horrific monster that's going to take my soul and rip it apart and burn it for all eternity just because I didn't believe in it? I'll let you answer that, my friend. Yeah, cool new name though. We do have the phone lines open, so if anybody wants to call, yes.
I've been mocking God my whole life.
I know.
And I haven't really...
Well, look where that got you. I don't know. I may have to convert now.
It's been perilous for me the last couple of weeks, but I'm just fucking old, so I'm expecting that shit.
Believe in God or you'll end up like this man. Like this man.
Like me.
That sounded like an open threat, Kelly. You guys, y'all are fantastic. Well, you know, there's a lot of different things about Jesus. A lot of people claim the Lamb in Revelations is Jesus. The Lamb in Revelations. If the Lamb who comes in Revelations is Jesus, then he arrives. I know you're going to think I'm shitting. Covered in blood. He's covered in blood. His robes are covered in blood. And his whole deal is he's going to go kill all the non-believers or some business. I mean, it's a blood cult. Jewish blood magic. Ooh, special is here. If the miracles happen before your eyes, you would not believe it anyways. Well, no, I would question.
You know, if I had 100% proof that your God existed, I would totally believe your God existed. That's not a problem for me. I would totally believe your God existed if I had unambiguous empirical proof, which I have never seen, and no Christian has ever been able to give to me. However, just because I believe in your God doesn't mean I would worship your God.
That's true. There you go.
And I think that's a very important distinction.
Yeah, that is a good point. I've said that before. There's quite a few people who have said that even if your God was real, I still wouldn't worship it. Look how horrific it is. Salam, brothers and sisters, says Afghan Sheikh Pesh. Good morning, Afghan Sheikh Pesh. Thank you for joining us this morning. one of the things about those miracles is that we've got all kinds of miracles in science, but why doesn't that convince Christians? Why is it that just a miracle? Now, of course, what's a miracle in science, right? I don't know. Curing polio, is that a miracle? How many people have been saved by the cure for polio? Would that constitute a miracle? Why didn't God do that? That's an interesting thought.
How many,
Go ahead.
how many millions of people have been saved by genetically modified meat?
Yes. I remember being in the 90s, 80s, and 90s in high school, and they're like, by 2025, people are going to be starving by the millions because we don't have enough food to feed them. And then they figured out all this stuff with the genetically modified plants and growing, and they could do all kinds of cool, nerdy stuff. And here we are. This God of the Christians, this God tends to be receding. We've heard about it receding now it's receding behind abiogenesis and behind the Big Bang. That's where it lives. It's like the abiogenesis and the Big Bang are the curtains behind which their God goes, oh. I just kind of think that's funny. Ancient people were idiots. Well, see, that's the whole deal. One of the things that I feel about this is there was a conflagration of things. You had writing coming to the Middle East. Around the same time, you had people believing in these ancient blood gods and all this other business. And the stories that these people used to tell each other, somebody said, hey, man, we should write that shit down. And they started writing the things down that they had told each other. So, Kelly knows. Kelly's on such a delay. Ancient people were mighty in stature.
Hi-Side, that's a good point.
What's that?
Good point, Hi-Side. People, Paleolithic people were not less intelligent than we are. They had less facts than we do, but they were not any less intelligent.
That is a very good point. I see a super chat come through from Atheist Mechanic for $10. Says, I would never worship a being that would send a person to burn and be tortured infinitely just for the simple fact of not believing. That isn't love in any sense. Thank you very much. Yeah, what kind of shit way of love is that? That's not love. We did a deal.
I got a question directly to me from Afghan Sheikh Pesh.
Okay.
Do I think I could defy the Creator? Probably not. Does that mean I wouldn't try to defy him? I certainly still would. I've been trying to defy many parts of the U.S. government most of my life, and I haven't been able to make any changes yet, but I'm still not going to stop.
Yeah.
On my own, I haven't made any changes, but I'm still not going to stop trying.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's one of the deals. Is this Creator going to be so glorious and so beautiful when it appears to us that we're going to forgive it all of its horrific tragedies? What is it? Tragedies? No. Atrocities. The atrocities this creature has committed. And even if you get out of the Bible, you talk about like the World War II. And the Jews who were killed, and they were all the people who were praying for help. Well, where was God? Where was this God creature when they were killing people by the millions, people who worshiped him by the millions? Where was he? Where did these prayers go?
I don't know if it's absolutely true or not, but I know of a story about some graffiti at one of the concentration camps that one of the Jews that had been in prison there had wrote, God is going to have to ask for my forgiveness.
Yeah. See,
which kind of says a lot. When you think about it.
One of the things is the Afghan Sheikh is trying to, I see where you're going. You would worship him because that, my friend, because I guess, if you knew it was true, you would fold and try to get in good with his graces. See, that's the whole thing. I don't really think so. I think you're mistaken. Asking Mr. Sheikh, of course, by the same token, since Mr. Sheikh is a believer, if we say, well, what if you were to suddenly find out that Jesus was true and Muhammad was a complete lie, complete fabrication, and Jesus was true, would you immediately become a Christian right now, right here for us on this show? Is that how that works? Would you be able to just discard your entire life of programming and all that business and just switch that quickly, that easily? Or would you resist? But then there's the whole deal. When you see how glorious God is, you're just going to fall on your face. You can't possibly resist. Well, that's not a choice then, is it? That's not even a choice. Why you even bother asking me? That's not a choice at all. Ooh.
Right. Somebody made a good point. Coffeetown Atheist. Not all the religions can be true, Afghan. And so one of them is wrong. And everybody who has a religion thinks the other ones are wrong. Mm-hmm. Who's right? Yeah. Who is actually right? And how can you prove that you have the right religion?
Right.
I know you're a Muslim. What do Muslims have, or can they do that no other non-Muslim can do that isn't just a promise? What is it that makes your religion real and none of the others real?
See, but you don't believe Jesus to be the truth, however. See, so that doesn't matter. Your belief doesn't matter, Afghan Sheikh. That's not what that's what we said to you. We don't believe God is real. But you're like, no, we go past that. Now you're suddenly proven. It's proven to you right now. You know God is real. Do you accept God? We said no. You have been proven, Sheikh. You've proven to you that Jesus is real. Do you worship his feet and get rid of Muhammad?
He said he would.
Okay. That's the question. That's the question. Well, he said he would, but he was also hedging his bets with, I don't believe Jesus is real. That's why I was like, well, we know that. Right. Yeah. Kind Nine says there are more Christianites than Christians. Good morning, Kind Nine. Thank you for joining us. I can't argue that at all. Scott, good morning. Scott says, us humans have been doing this for about 200,000 years. The Christian God shows up 2,000 years ago. Where the hell was he with his other families? That deadbeat. True enough. I mean, all the years, there's just so many things. This is a cruel creature. If it exists, it's a cruel creature. If it doesn't exist and the natural world is what the natural world is, well, it's exactly what we'd expect it to be. Cruel at sometimes, but kind of you got control over it and you make it what you make it. Jack Green is here, by the way. You said killing children is evil, so God killed his own son, and is that not evil? Yeah, see, that's the whole deal. Then they're going to fall back on, well, anything God does is good. So if God kills somebody, then that's good. That's where they're going to go. Am I right? Good morning, Rob Beard.
We don't know the whole divine plan.
Right. We don't know the whole plan. Right. It's fascinating how there's just so much vacillating and quibbling, and my God is good and peaceful and love, until you start pointing out the harsh things, and then there's so much squirming. Rob Ebert. I hope I said that right. Divine command theory is immoral. It is, yeah. So here's my thinking. If you're one of those, read the Gospels, Daniel and Revelations, and you'll see that most of what Jesus has said came to pass.
I want to know.
It's crazy, dude.
What exactly? Seriously, I want to know what exactly that Jesus said that came to pass that wasn't just a gross generalization, right? Yeah. Like I can say things about what's going to happen 300-500 years up the road that are gross generalizations. Yeah. That doesn't mean I'm a prophet. Yeah. That just means I have a pretty good idea of, the way society is running right now.
In 2035,
please tell me exactly that Jesus said.
Yes, in 2035 on Thursday it will rain. Yeah, somewhere in 2035 on Thursday it will probably rain. That doesn't mean Jesus was real. And there's a lot of things where they called out his name, Emmanuel. His name is not Emmanuel. So that's one of the where they say he fulfilled a prophecy of the Old Testament. That wasn't his name. They claim that was, but that's not right. Then they I've heard them really wiggle to try to squirm how Emmanuel means this in that tongue, and on Thursdays or Tuesdays it means this, except for whenever you say Emmanuel, and then it means something else, which is Jesus. You know, they really twist themselves up. There's a part in the Bible where there was a thief who got caught, and they, I think, whipped him, and Jesus happened to get whipped as well. And so the Christians will be like, you'll know him by his stripes, because he fulfilled some prophecy, because some guy in the Old Testament, totally not related to anything what Jesus was doing, got beaten. And so you just pick that out and say, that's a prophecy that he fulfilled. So I'm just, yeah. That's my thinking. Moses was, that was something I was going to ask Ryan yesterday, and I forgot to ask Ryan about it. Was it, I heard, and I haven't looked really, I guess I could look. I heard that Moses, committed genocide before just after leading the people out of Egypt, and before Sinai, somewhere before he got the 10 Commandments, Moses killed a shit ton of people. And I wanted to ask her about it. If you're listening, Miss Rion, let us see here. Drunken boat builder, desert warlord, pedophile, a magic carpenter baby. I'm glad fiction got much better. I know, right? Well, one of the things is like Noah. Noah is a horrific example of a person. As soon as the boat lands, the first thing he does is make a winery and gets drunk. And then his son comes in and sees him drunk. Now, there's two meanings to that, but sees him drunk, and instead of cursing the son, he curses his grandson. Now, you're like, oh, well, that's not God, that's Noah. Well, he didn't curse his grandson on his own. It wasn't his power that cursed. No, he calls down the power of the Lord to curse the grandson, and he did. This innocent child who knew nothing of nothing. Now, some people think that saw him naked means that Ham actually had sex with Noah's wife rather than just seeing Noah drunk. And that's why they think that. So I'm just, anyway, merciful, loving God, by the way. I like to call them macrame Christians. That's a good one, CJ. Good morning, CJ. Thank you for joining us this morning. Austin Sims, how are you doing, buddy? How's school going for you? Everything going all right? They will also evolve through cooperation, and that's how you get multicellularity. Said that. Even with my accent, I said that. Abiogenesis no longer works for God of the gaps argument because there's many ways it can happen without divine magic. And this is something we talked about on the show. I remember I'd heard a glancing blow of it. I mentioned it on the show, and then since mentioning it on the show, I've seen several different things that back it up, that on the comet Bennu comet, we found all 5 of the main molecules for life. So if that didn't scare me at all. At least I don't have to pee anymore.
They just found another one.
Yeah.
They just found another asteroid with all the same chemicals too. I just read about it a few days ago. Mm-hmm. So now we have 2. Yeah. And so, it's just so common. I think that's a really bad place to be. Some people have even asked, hey, if that happens, how come it hasn't happened again? Well, it may have happened again, but the life that was here probably killed off whatever. If something else were to spawn up right now, multicellular form, it wouldn't stand a chance. Would not stand a chance against the shit that's already here. It would take a clean environment for something new to spawn like that and develop, That could be how we got viruses.
A second version. That's a good point. A second way.
Because they're so different from the rest.
Yeah.
Since they're so different, they're not even quite alive, they're so different than any other living thing on Earth. That might be how we got viruses. It was a second seeding
of
life on Earth.
I hadn't thought of that. I like that one. We got a $20 super chat from Dairy Fiend. Says, and sighing deeply in his spirit, he said, why does this generation demand a sign? Truly, I say to you, no sign will be given to this generation. Mark 8:12. Thank you for that. One of the things I've heard is that the older the gospel, the further away from Jesus it was written, the more Jesus became a spiritual creature. Like if you read Mark, the earliest one, Jesus was like, right here, baby, he's right here. But if you read the next couple, he's like, he was right there, but he's kind of mostly up there, but he was right there. But you read the final last one, he's like all up there. I hope that made sense. To the spiritual nature of God. Anyway, thank you for the $20 super chat. We're going to take a quick break. I think what I'm going to throw at you guys today is the Holy Halos. I haven't done that to you in a while. We'll be back in just a minute, and then we will continue with the show. Guys, as a matter of fact, I'll probably have to wrap up a little early. So I'll let you guys know here in a bit. We'll be back. And go. And go. Next up in the Bark Bank, a clergyman with a holy hustle and maybe a few unholy loopholes.
Hi, Barks. Blessings and belly rubs to you all. I'm Father Flanigan, and today I'm here seeking $50,000 for 3% of my soul-saving startup, Holy Halos, the world's first, soon-to-be, church-approved condoms. Following the ways of the Lord can be hard and often require sacrifices of the flesh. Well, fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanigan's line of Holy Halo condoms.
Hold on, Father. The church very much doesn't like condoms. How do you expect to sell these?
Well, you're right, but these aren't just any condoms. No, my furry financiers, these are permeable. But every single halo has been dipped in holy water, a divine divider between you and sin. You can finally frolic freely and still keep that sweet spot in heaven. Permeable, but dipped in holy water to keep the sin out, but let the babies in.
Let you get your stick wet without getting your stick stuck.
If you know what I mean.
Oh my! Very embarrassing every time.
So basically they don't work as condoms, but they let you get away with having sex without going to hell?
Exactly. The church gets to keep making babies, but you don't have to keep going to confession. Think of it. No more guilt. No more awkward "I'm saving myself for marriage" speeches. With Holy Halos, you can take those pray hands and turn them into lay hands.
Didn't I read that holy water is full of bacteria like E. coli? Won't this be harmful to women's health?
The words are English, but I don't understand the question.
How are you addressing the issue holy water presents for women's health?
Again, I'm not understanding.
She does that. Well, we don't get it either.
Is that mesh from a window screen?
Ah, that's a keen eye you have there, young lass. Yes. Another fine selling point, rough on the outside to increase her shame, as it should be. But soft and smooth on the inside, internally lubed and ribbed for his pleasure. We even have custom scents.
Scents? Now you have my attention. What flavors we talking? Don't pitch me that vanilla missionary nonsense, Padre.
Well, we do have virgin vanilla, but we also have miracle mint and cooing camel, and my personal favorite, sweat of the Savior.
And the Vatican, they've blessed this endeavor?
Well, not exactly. I'm still waiting on the papal decree one way or the other.
I love it, but you're asking 50 grand for only 3%. That's rough, Father, real rough.
Not running with the big dogs on this one. I'm gonna stay on the porch.
Me too. Good luck, Father. 15%.
Ouch, 15%, that's highway robbery even for the church.
Come on, Father, we're dogs. We know a bone when we see one. 10%, and we'll even bless your branding.
Look, meet me in the middle, 7%, and I'll baptize all your puppies.
7% works for me. Father Flanigan, it looks like
Wait a second, our producers say we have a special call-in bidder. Let's get him up on the screen. Folks, we have the guardian of the sacred fire hydrant himself.
Oh no.
Defender of the holy tennis ball and eater of the golden kibble, Pup Oliver Poops a Lot the Fifth.
Flanigan!
Yes, your Pope.
50,000 at 20%.
20%?
And you get to keep calling yourself a father.
Sold to the pup in the very fine hat.
I knew you'd see it my way.
You're very wise, Your Hiney. Would there be anything else?
You may leave.
Father Flanigan's line of holy halos, ultra thin, spiritually thick. Available in 3 sizes: conservative, medium, and liberal. All right, we are back. Thank you all for joining us. Good morning, Dumbass Llama. Thank you for being here. I've got a couple things. William Graves, why people left the pyramids without Cleopatra. I just want to mention that the pyramids were ancient when Cleopatra saw them. She died in 60 BC. And the pyramids were around 2500 BCE. So technically, and this is what got my attention, Cleopatra was closer to Pizza Hut in time than she was to the pyramids. During Cleopatra's time, they used to have people tour guides who would take them around. They had archaeologists back then who studied the ancients. Yeah. Sorry, my mic's giving me some grief. Good morning, Gilberto Cuadros. Thank you for joining us. Good day to all. A prayer for my misguided Imaros Emiros. I didn't say that wrong. From Brazil, in fact. Thank you for joining us from Brazil. Yep.
Bon dia.
Yes, via con dias and potato chips. Let's see. Austin said, you have a really good grasp on the subject, but it's advancing all the time. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's really not a safe place for these people to be putting their God behind abiogenesis. If you're going to put your God behind abiogenesis, then someday we're going to figure that out. And then where will you be? Hey, well, you know what? We've got Dairy Fiend in the Discord has their hand up. Let's bring Dairy Fiend, give them the opportunity to say hi. Hello, Austin. How are you doing? Can't hear Austin. Microphone looks muted.
It's because I muted myself. I didn't realize.
There you go.
I said morning even.
Good morning. Are you busting along early, huh?
I just took a big bite of salad, if you catch my meaning.
Je comprends.
We're getting sinning early this morning. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you if you were willing to explore your claim Jesus was a liar. I think that's interesting.
Well, sure. Yeah, you can talk to me. That's great. Let me answer a question. Collapsalism asks, Chris is your brother standing in for Ryan. Ryan is only going to be on the show Mondays and Thursdays going forward. She's got other things going on in the world. Yeah, she had a schedule change. So there's that. Yeah, what's your question? Austin, what are your thoughts?
Well, from where I'm sitting, I don't think Jesus actually did lie. But that's because I think Jesus was a story, right? So it's kind of like saying Moses lied, right? Like Moses is obviously a story.
That's true.
Like a fictional character. And so it's like, well, Moses was just doing whatever the authors needed him to do to get the point across.
Of course.
But I will tell you who I do think lied. I think Paul was a liar. I think Paul was a real person.
That's a good
one. And I think he told a tall tale. I think he had a lot of fibs about what the meaning of the gospel truly is. And if you look at Paul and his writings, a lot of the letters are actually, at least contentious, if not like outright proven to be forgeries. I think half of them are at least in contention. It's like First and Second Corinthians, Philippians, Ephesians. A lot of them are wow, I didn't realize people didn't even think that Paul wrote these. But yeah, if you read through Paul's letters, it's like everything he says is like a big speech. Right? He's not telling a story in the same way that Mark is telling a story.
Right.
And Mark has this beautiful narrative, this very in-depth, carefully crafted, dense but short story about Christ. And he has a very clear message, I think. If you read the story yourself, you'll understand whoever Mark was. We don't know. That's just the name. But I think that Mark had a very clear message in mind when he was telling the story. And it's kind of a miracle that we even have it because, well, there's a lot of quirks about the Bible that I'll say I just find suspicious. including putting the oldest gospel between two other gospels that were direct copycat ripoffs that had a bunch of stuff. So it's almost like you kind of glossed over it when you're reading through them straight through. You don't even notice that the oldest one, if you don't know anything, right? Like the oldest one leaves out all these details. Anyway, yeah, Paul is not doing a narrative at all. He's just like telling them what to believe. He's very much like a preacher. He's like, he has talking points. He has rhetoric. He has argument, which is the exact kind of thing that Jesus like dealt with against the Pharisees, right? And Paul was a Pharisee. Well, Jesus was always dealing with these rhetorical Pharisees who were always trying to like demand a sign from him or demand some account of his authority. And they were like, by whose authority do you do these things? And he was like, well, by whose authority was John baptizing? And they couldn't answer because if they said, well, from man, then they knew the crowd would revolt because they believed that John was, divinely inspired. But if they said from God, then they would have undermined their whole point. So they had to say nothing. So like, there's a lot of scenarios where Jesus is directly dealing with this like clever rhetoric from the Pharisees, and he's turning it on its head. He's subverting their authority. And here we have, after Jesus, yet another clever Pharisee doing all these rhetorical tactics and like making all of these arguments about what the meaning of the story truly is. And I just find that so interesting. And I notice a lot of like, most of the quotes that I hear from Christians are like memorized from Paul, from Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, from Romans is a lot of people's favorite. My dad's favorite is Romans. And these are all like authoritative, like preachings of like, well, you should obey earthly authorities and like every knee will bend, every head will bow, every tongue confess, right? Like very ominous, like authority versus like Jesus is literally saying the kingdom is here now. You're already in the kingdom. The kingdom of God is at hand. So like it's very different. It's like I can't reconcile it. That's why I think Paul is lying to us.
Yeah, we've talked about
Jesus is.
We've talked about it on the show that Paul. I've said that Paul hijacked the Christian religion. yeah, he hijacked it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be called Paulinity.
Paulinity. It should really should be. So, well, now to your very first point there, Austin, about Jesus didn't exist. We knew that. When we at the very start of the show, I don't know if you were here, we talked about that, how we're giving the benefit of the doubt. If Jesus existed, stop. Did he lie? Was he a liar? That's the question. We if he existed, that's kind of where we're going. So I get you. I feel you. We too, some of us don't really believe he existed at all. We're just giving the benefit of the doubt. Well, if he believed, then was he lying?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're going to factor in all the Gospels, it gets kind of murky, right? Because
was it bullshitting?
These all seem to be competing angles on Jesus. And like the narratives almost seem to be correcting for interpretations and saying, no, this is what this really means. And he did this because of this thing. And like, you don't see any of that in Mark, like very, very much at all. So I kind of like discard the other Gospels as derivative. And it's like, this is the heart of the story. Like, this is the progenitor of the story. Maybe there's an earlier version of the Gospel that we'll never have access to, but this is as close as we can get to source, right? When I look at it, I just see Jesus is speaking in parables the whole time, and he's doing paradoxical miracles the whole time. So it really comes down to, if you think he's lying or not, you got to solve the riddle, which it was a riddle in my view. Mark was a Hellenistic Jew, most likely, a Greek-speaking Jew who would have been very familiar with like the history of philosophy up until that time, and Greek and Hebrew. He would have memorized the Septuagint, which is the Greek transliterated version of the Old Testament of their Bible. He would have been a master of rhetorical craft. He would have been a great storyteller, and it absolutely shows when you read Mark. It's just utterly genius.
I'll have to read it, or have a smart person read it to me or something.
You don't have to be smart to understand it. That's the thing. Like, you read it with like presuppositions. You don't bring any baggage into it. You don't bring any theology. You just take it as a story. And like any movie that you would watch, ask yourself, what does that stand for? What does that mean? What is this a symbol of? And you solve the puzzle. Because that was the tradition that he would have followed. Was I forget the name of the tradition, but basically the Hellenists were riddle makers. They wove these narratives together that were paradoxical, that emphasized contradiction and abrupt silences.
Yeah, that's all fascinating. I don't really know that would benefit the book of Mark and help them tell their story. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying it. One of my arguments against religion.
We speak in parables.
Yeah, I know.
So that having eyes they do not see, and having ears they may not hear, lest they turn and be forgiven.
I understand. I know. Basically what that's saying is, listen, man, this is a bunch of bullshit, and those people over there ain't going to buy it. So I'm going to tell my followers this, so whenever the people don't buy the bullshit, they'll be like, read again what you just said.
That's very interesting.
That's exactly what that's about.
See how you would read it that way.
Yeah, well, no, that's exactly what that's about, because it's a crazy religion. Nobody's going to believe that. They're doubters. They're misbelievers. Of course that's going to happen. I would write that into my religious book. Me and Kelly are going to write a religious book.
I got to cut off what?
Okay.
When you read Mark, it's more obvious that it's like a critique of religion than anything else. It's very atheist.
Well,
in its stance.
I appreciate you, but I don't know that you seem to have a lot of worship going on of the Book of Mark. I'm waiting for you to break out Christian on me here. I'm going to have to check it out myself. Again, I'm not very versed with it, but obviously we know it wasn't written by somebody who was named Mark, probably. And we already know that the person who did write it certainly wasn't there when any of this happened. And then there's also the fact, or the possibility, that chances are it wasn't one single writer. I mean, if they're that genius in all of these, like the Shakespeare of ancient Hellenistic stuff, is probably more than one person putting it together to lead a story. I'm just saying.
How do you figure?
I thought I just explained that. Matter of fact, even in Shakespeare, they suspect Shakespeare didn't write all of his own plays. They suspect it was a group of people who wrote them. Some people suspect that. It just depends on who you're talking about. And I didn't say that was actually the case. I'm just saying you're writing about it as if it was some sort of, or you're talking about it as some sort of fantastic, immaculate thing. And I just don't know that Mark is going to be that fantastic when I get there.
Well, I can't spoil the riddle for you.
What riddle is it? What's the riddle?
What fills an empty tomb?
No. All right. So what fills an empty tomb? You told me the riddle. What's the answer to the riddle? I don't want to figure it out. What's the answer? Yeah, hello?
I'm here.
What fills an empty tomb?
I think that
This.
Silence. Is that what you're saying? Come on, man.
Silence.
I got all day for this shit. So
nothing.
That in that case, nobody gets anything from that. Nobody gets anything from that. That's fucking useless, dude. Nobody gets anything from that. Explain to me anybody who gets that message from the Book of Mark. Are you here, dude?
I do. Yeah, me.
Yeah, okay. All right. So go ahead.
Well, let's start with the beginning.
Okay.
It says that it quotes Isaiah and Malachi.
Okay.
It says,
so they had access to ancient books, writings. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And it says, I'm sending a messenger before your face, a voice screaming in the wilderness, a voice crying out.
So that would be John.
Right. And then it immediately says, John appeared in the wilderness, or John was in the wilderness, proclaiming a baptism of forgiveness of sins, of repentance on the forgiveness of sins. And repentance in Greek is not the Latin repent, as in punishment, but metanoiete, which is the Greek word for an empty mind.
Okay.
Clear your thought and believe. And then, every time Jesus is confronted by someone with unclean spirit or a demon, he silences them. The very first miracle that Jesus produces is when he goes into the synagogue, and immediately he goes into the synagogue and begins preaching, and the people were amazed that he taught with authority, unlike the scribes of the law. Right. That's an interesting detail. And then there's the man there who calls him Son of God, who calls him the anointed.
How is that a miracle?
Yeah, I know. It's like the
unclean spirit. Well, the miracle is that the unclean spirit's crying out at him, and he says, "Be silent," and come out of him. And that theme of silence is actually prevalent throughout the whole story. There's a lot of other instances. Jesus strictly forbade his followers from making his presence known.
So wait, because I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. Because can you please stop for a second? Because I'm trying to understand what you just said, and it's not registering in my head. What I heard was, if I tell somebody to shut up and they shut up, it's a miracle, right? That's what I just heard. So how is what Jesus did there? Pardon?
It says he was possessed by an unclean spirit. I'm not saying this really happened. Remember, this is a story, but that's the miracle. That's the first miracle in the narrative. I'm talking about the meaning.
So what is an unclean spirit? I mean, what does that mean? Is that,
that's a good question.
So if I tell a sex offender to shut up and they shut up, it's a miracle?
Well, I do want to
That's not what I'm talking about.
I do want to mention that a lot of this, I understand that there's from a craft of writing perspective, is what you were talking about earlier. From a craft of the art of writing, I get that part. Everything you said though is essentially the writer of the book, who is a fan, allegedly says, it's like saying Stan Lee, who is a fan of Spider-Man, claims that Spider-Man can do these things, claims that he's the son of God. He claims...
It's so interesting you bring up Spider-Man.
It's just a common reference. It's like Mark, the writer of the book of Mark, claims that Jesus did these things, claims that he silenced a demon. We should believe it because this guy says so, this guy who probably wasn't alive. Now, of course, no, you're not actually saying we should believe it. I know that. I know that. I get you. I understand.
Man, you got to read it for yourself. That's all I'll say. I've said too much already. Okay. Yeah,
I'll read it for myself.
If you think about it, like in terms of the ancient literature, like even Homer wrote about gods, right? And to them, they did believe in gods, but these are also like narratives. They didn't actually think these things necessarily happened,
Yeah. I get it.
I think that there's a lot of literary value in the story, and I think that if you understand it to be the kind of riddle that I think Mark intended it to be, it comes across very clear.
I find that interesting. I'm making a note here. Go ahead, Kelly, if you had something to say.
I don't
Mark
know
and the
what
riddle.
else to say, honestly.
I'm gonna look for the riddle of Mark. Is this now? Let me ask you. Sorry, Kelly. Is this a common school of thought, or is this just you? Austin,
this is just me.
Oh, okay.
But gotcha. I understand that I think that there are other people who are like in history were like Markinists, that they thought that one of the most important pieces of Mark, this will blow your mind, there is no post-resurrection appearance of Jesus. Jesus doesn't show up and give a great commission to the disciples to go out and tell all nations and everything. That is, there are actually 3 different endings of Mark, and 2 of them are like extensions that don't appear in the manuscript until like decades to centuries later. So the earliest ending of Mark we have is the women at the tomb. It ends at chapter 16, verse 8, and they are going to the tomb and they see that the stone is rolled away, and there's a man dressed in white standing there in the tomb, and he says to them, "You're looking for Jesus Christ, the Nazarene, who was crucified. Look and see the spot where they laid him." And that's a clue. And then he says, "He is not here." He says, "He is not here. See the spot where they laid him." That's the clue. And then he says, "Go into Galilee and tell his disciples, even Peter, the one who had betrayed by confessing, right? By denying Jesus, that he didn't know the man. Even Peter, that he goes before you." So that's the only thing that we get from Mark. We don't get like him ascending into the heavens or any of that stuff. And the man in white is not identified, but there is only one place where in the book where they mention a man dressed in white. I'll leave it to you to find that. But if look for the man.
Demanding why. I'll check it out. Like I said, I haven't read it. I'll have to check. And it's the first book of the Bible, right? The New Testament. So I'll start there probably.
Second book.
Second book.
Mark.
There you go. Mark.
Yeah.
Matthew, Mark. I'll check them out. Like I said,
Matthew first.
I got a lot to learn. What did you say?
Why would they put Matthew first?
I thought Mark was
Mark is
first.
the oldest one.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I'll start with it because it's the first one.
Why would they order it that way? Why would it be ordered that way?
Who?
The church.
I have no idea, man. I don't know even what you're talking about. I'm talking about which way I'm going to start it, and
Council of Nicaea.
The oldest one, the oldest one. The book of. Listen, dude. When you open the fucking New Testament, what's the first book?
Matthew.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I thought it was Mark.
No, it's not. It's
Okay,
No,
see?
it's Matthew.
Okay, see? I started out saying, I don't know about the New Testament. I got to read it. I'm over here writing down. I said, I'll have somebody smart read it to me. I even said that earlier about the New Testament. So start with.
They're in reverse. The four Gospels are in reverse alphabetical order.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Is that why, though? Why
They are.
Huh.
I don't know why, but they are.
Well, I think now that we've got, at least let me ask the question, because so this is the oldest one of the text. Now, I want to go find, because as I've already said, and I'm sorry for being a jerk. I can't help it. But I do want to learn about these things. And I've already been talking about learning the New Testament. And so I want to try to, whenever I get to the book of Mark. Now, did you say read it first or not to read it first? Read it first.
Read Mark by itself as a narrative.
Okay, got you.
Into it. Just read it as it is, and the clues will start to jump out at you.
Okay, I got you. Let me do that and make a note there, because I want to learn. I want to find out. I want to see, and it may not. I mean, there have been, I want to say, 1 billion people have read that book, and if you're the only one to get it, it's not likely I'm going to get it too. I'm just saying, but I'll read it.
Sometime, one of these days, I'll sit down with you and we'll talk about it.
Let's see. I got a smart person. Okay, the book of Mark, because the book of Mark was now that's the earliest one written. Matthew,
dated around 70 AD, or around the time of the destruction of the second Jewish temple.
Riddle of Mark written roughly. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now Matthew comes in.
And I got resources for you. You can look at here. I mean, obviously Wikipedia is a great resource, but also I'll post this in chat. Rationalwiki.com is a great one.
Okay.
Here, let me find something else. I read a version of the Bible called the Lexham English Bible, which is an attempt to transliterate directly from the Greek, more or less. I read that side by side with Greek, with the SPL.
That's one of the reasons why I don't believe. That's one of the reasons why I don't believe in any of these gods. None of them. One of the reasons right there. If you have to translate it and learn it and transliterate it, and it has to be in this language and that language and all this other business for somebody to understand it, then that God obviously didn't want everybody to understand it.
William Tyndale.
What about it? Say it again.
William Tyndale was executed by the church for translating the Bible into Latin and getting it into the vulgar.
The whole Martin Luther thing in the 95 Thesis also had to do with. Yeah.
He made a promise that even the most illiterate farm boy would know more of the Holy Scriptures than their priests. That was his mission.
Yeah. All right, man, we're going to take a break. I appreciate you. I'm going to look into the Mark thing. I am going to look into the Mark thing. I already said I'm ignorant on the New Testament. I know some things. I know there's a lot of conflicting things. Now, Matt, wait, but I got another question. Matthew was the last one written. Am I right?
John.
See what I don't know?
John is the latest gospel that's included. There are like apocryphal gospels and like stuff that wasn't in the canon that comes after. So I mean that all gets super weird.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah. But if you want to think about the timeline, it's like we have Mark really early on, and then a few decades later, I think we get like Matthew and Luke, and then like a decade or so after that, we get like John, roughly. I may be fuzzing the timeline like really bad right now, but basically it's like Mark to John, and you'll see the development if you read them all. If you read Mark and then Matthew, Luke, and John, you'll see how different they really get.
I've heard.
It makes it kind of impossible to like have this like inerrant view of the Bible, right? That this is like this is perfect, divinely inspired word of God, that like there's no contradictions. It's like, well, no, these are people obviously arguing and in dialogue with each other about the meaning of this story. Right. Like,
yes. Oh no,
it's like so obvious to me.
I know there's a lot of contradictions between them. Very much so. We're gonna go. We're gonna go do our thing, man. I enjoyed talking to you. Thank you. Whenever we got
Kelly, great to see you, man.
Now Mark, I'm gonna focus on that. Now, whenever we get back, we're gonna talk to Isaac, who wants to know why we're not Christians. What was that? Oh, he was okay. Gotcha. All right, we'll be back in just a minute.
I was just saying thanks. You said it was nice to see you.
I'll see. Yes. Were you circumcised at birth, or did you change your faith for a woman and now she's gone? Or did your sister's lockjaw flare up at the worst possible time?
Guilty as charged.
Well, fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanigan's line of at-home foreskin restoration kits. It won't cost you an arm and a leg, just an eyelid. Testimonials are already coming in. Mike from Dallas, Texas writes, ever since I got my penis caught in the blender, I haven't felt like a real man, but now I'm back and intact. Thank you, Father Flanigan. Steve from Florida says, I didn't really want my foreskin back, but my wife insisted. We did it, and, well, you should see the look on her face. King Kelly writes, wow, getting my foreskin back literally doubled my length. After all these years, I can finally hold my heads high. Thank you, Father Flanigan. Father Flanigan's at-home foreskin restoration kits are part of our Tips for Tots and Adults community outreach program. Free eye patch and eye mister with each purchase. You can tell just by the look on his face whether he's packing or he's lacking. Microsurgery available for those extra small jobs. And in case you have any problems, Father Flanigan's highly trained medical staff. All right, we are back. Awesome sauce. That's one of our shorter little things. Let me come over here, and I want to mention a couple of things. Come on, damn you. There we go. I must have fat fingered something. Thank you for letting me know, guys. I was over here trying to get Isaac's name up on the chat here. Is it there? Yes. Now let me see if I can bring Isaac up. Sorry, I must have hit it with my hand as I was doing business. Let's go here.
Hello?
Hello, Isaac. There we go. Isaac, how are you doing today?
Hi.
Yeah, I'm good, my friend. How are you?
So far, so good. What's on your mind?
Sorry, I didn't catch your name. What can I call you today?
Chris. I'm Chris.
Chris.
And I'm Kelly.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, well, what's your contention with Christianity then?
Man, that's a...
I don't have a contention. I just don't believe it. And I don't believe it because I've never seen any unambiguous empirical proof that Jesus or God ever existed.
Okay, what kind of proof would you need?
I just told you, unambiguous empirical proof. I just told you.
Yeah. God would know.
Like what specifically? What would you need to?
I don't know, but God would know what it would take, and I would need something that was unambiguous. It was not. It couldn't be interpreted in more than one way, and it would have to be empirical, something that I could sense and test and look here, something I could actually test to know that it was there.
Okay, but there are many things in this world that you don't hold that same standard to, yet you still believe in, right?
Like what?
I'm sure you believe in things like logic and things like that. I'm sure you can't touch and feel.
I believe in logic because it works, right? I believe in logic because it works, and we don't have any better system to use than the logic that we're working with. So I don't know that you can call logic a thing, right?
Does it exist?
As opposed to a process. So I don't think that logic is a really good example. So I mean, if you got something else, here's what I hear all the time. I hear logic, love, and air are the three examples I hear all the time, and they're all three really bad examples. But love, I might not be able to see love itself, but I can see the effects of love. I can feel love, right? Air, well, we can measure air. We can measure wind velocity. We know what's in the air.
Yeah, but love isn't empirical. You said something empirical, so I'm using logic as an example because
I'm talking about God. I am talking about a thing.
I know.
That is, wait. I'm talking about a thing that is supposed to exist. You are telling me that God exists. So if he exists, I should be able to tell that he exists.
Yes, exactly. And so
now I can have a feeling about God, like many people do when they go to church, but that doesn't mean that God is real or that feeling is being directed towards a real thing.
Sure. Okay.
Just like I don't know that love is being directed towards a real thing. That's why we have unrequited love.
Yeah, let him reply, Kelly.
Go.
So, as you said, that you believe logic exists, but it's not something that you can touch or feel, but you see the effects of it. Okay, fair, cool. Where does that logic come from then, in your opinion?
It comes from my mind. It comes from people's minds. Without minds, there would be no logic.
So, okay, so there would be no logic without people's minds. So if there was no human beings in the universe, logic wouldn't exist? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because there'd be nobody to think about it. Because logic is a thinking thing. And without somebody to think about the logic, it would not exist, period.
I don't really see where you're going with this point, that you're going to somehow convince us that you're going to give us non-real evidence. Okay, all right, get there then.
I'm getting there. Just bear with me. So you said that logic exists in the mind. Okay, cool. But the human mind is subjective, correct?
Get to your point, dude. Your point.
Yeah,
stop asking the questions. What is your point?
Well, because I'm just trying to establish some baselines before we have this conversation.
Right, you're trying to lead us into this thing where we agree with something that we're not going to agree with normally. That's exactly what you're trying to do, and I'm over it.
Just get to the point. We understand baseline.
Okay, let me walk you through it. Let me explain.
We understand the baseline of this conversation.
Let me explain.
We have had this conversation many times. We understand the baseline. Just get to the fucking point.
Let me explain once. I'm going to explain myself first. I'll explain where I'm going. But before
briefly and quickly.
One quick thing, okay? Please don't straw man me, okay?
I'm done, dude. You got to get to your point.
I'm going to say.
I'm over you.
Okay, so this is my point, okay? This is my point. I'll explain my point, okay? Logic exists, okay? You said that logic exists in the mind, okay? Our minds are subjective. Therefore, an objective thing like logic cannot exist in a subjective mind. It must exist in an objective mind.
Who said logic was subjective?
Who said it was subjective?
Who said logic was subjective?
It's
is logic objective? Is it objective? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Because I do a fucking God. Okay.
Stuff that wasn't really logical.
My turn to talk.
I think logic is subjective.
Okay. It doesn't matter. Listen, that's a horrific example for your God. You asked, you came on here and you're like, what proof would you need? And then you go onto this obscure, holy thing where you're trying to convince us that because people think there's a God, because there's logic, there's a God. That's what you just fucking said, dude.
Chris, you missed it. Let me explain. Chris, you missed it. You missed it completely.
Let him talk.
The reason why I said this, let me explain. The reason why I said this is because your friend said that he needed empirical evidence, something that he can see tangible. And I just wanted to show him that there are things that he believes in that are not exactly tangible. So he's not holding the same standard to everything.
So we've been on this whole conversation.
You believe logic exists, but you do not believe it's tangible. And you even said that logic is subjective, which is absolutely absurd because logic is objective. Logic stays the same everywhere in the universe, my friend.
Really?
It doesn't
Because
change.
I've seen a lot of people think they logically came to a false
human beings
conclusion.
don't exist, logic still exists. Logic is the mainframe of the universe.
Yeah.
It's what holds the universe together.
It does not.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
You just made that claim.
That's ridiculous. Logic holds the universe together. I'm done with this.
There's no thinking mind.
I'm done with this. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm tired of this. People talking over each other. I don't care for that. What?
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm really sorry.
No, you said, say again. I'd let you finish.
I said I'm really sorry for that.
No, before that, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, number one, I don't think that logic is objective. A lot of people use their logic and come up with false conclusions. So logic is obviously subjective, right?
Very true.
That's number one. Number two, I believe that my logic works and that my logic exists because of my thinking mind. What other people have thinking in their minds, I don't fucking know. Right? And the other thing, and this is the major point I think that needs to be made, how does logic existing prove that a fucking God exists?
Yeah, he went right there. He's like, because there's an objective logic, that must mean there's an objective creator of that logic. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, I kicked you, dude. I got tired of listening to you guys talk over each other, for fuck's sake. And it was bullshit. It was just nonsense. The stuff you're talking about is just nonsense. You're trying to pin us into stuff, and you spent that whole time talking about one little thing that Kelly said whenever he first said, he said empirical evidence, and that whole conversation had nothing to do with you actually proving God. It had you determining what was a measurable evidence for fucking Kelly. I was sitting there going, my God, why are we even talking about this? You know, I mean, this has nothing to do with fucking nothing.
I am Jeremy, another Christian, in the chat even says logic is a bad argument.
That's fucking stupid. Oh, my goodness.
That's the precept argument. That's the precept argument. Logic exists, so therefore God. And that I don't understand how that works at all.
Well, that's the whole thing. They really like to leap to God for whatever, anything. Snakes have no ears, but they spit nothing but venom. Therefore, God. You know, right? The wind blows from the south on Tuesdays. Therefore, God. It's just ridiculous. This notion that you're going to wiggle your way. The transcendental argument is shit. I was just like, no. And this whole deal, really, the first question right off about what would it take to prove to you, and no answer you would give was going to be good enough. Nothing. No answer. I mean, what we actually said, God would know. If this creature you believe in is almighty, all powerful, he would know and he would present us that information, but he doesn't. So,
yeah.
You know, and then this whole thing, this other people read the Bible. Thank you, Miss Melissa. You're probably the one that needs to read the Bible. I'm sorry. I don't know which side you're on. Oftentimes Christians come in here and they tell us to read the Bible, and they're the ones that are ignorant of the Bible. So sorry. I don't know you yet. You might be a jerk. Yeah.
Instead of proving a God to us, he was attacking the way I see the universe.
Well, that was what the whole freaking thing was about. I mean, it was... The original question was...
I would rather have had proof of God.
Right. The original question was, what is our contingency or contention with Christianity? That's what he said. I wrote it down when he first... And you said you didn't have a problem with Christianity. You would just need proof of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I never even got to go to my answer about my contention with Christianity is 2,000 years of murder, death, kill, of subjection, of abortion rights, women, and 10 commandments on our children, and the all the things, the Catholic Reformation, the Pope telling them not to use condoms and causing AIDS or spreading AIDS, all kinds. There's so many things I have wrong with Christianity. The Catholic sex abuse scandal, not least among them. But wait, the Southern Baptist child sex abuse scandal, not least among them. No, wait. The Jehovah's Witness child sex abuse scandal, not least among them. Where should I stop with my contention for Christianity? Interesting. I heard a ding. I'm trying to learn to answer my dings.
I heard a ding too.
Because because sometimes I, get carried away. I don't see where it came from, though. I don't see it. I'm sorry if I missed something. Everything's working. Okay, I made a note.
I just wanted to remind you that if you do need to stop early, it's that time.
Well,
okay. I just wanted to remind you.
Okay. Oh, no. We're good. Yeah. These kind of things, I appreciate. One of the things I got to say is I appreciate your experience. I guess it's this, I've seen, now you're this, I watched allegedly Ian the other day.
I've done the logic argument before.
Yeah. Oh man, that was hard. I'm writing that down. The transcendental. That's bullshit. Transcendent. But I watched allegedly Ian the other day, and man, him and this other guy literally spoke over each other like you and that individual did for like, it was an hour, and they were calling each other names. I'm like, man, this ain't entertainment to me. Not talking. It must be a thing in the community. Transcendent. Man, what the hell was that?
I shouldn't have been over talking him. Honestly, I was trying to get him to stop though, because. Right. And here's the thing: if you keep going on and you make 5 points at once, and I have a problem with the first and the third point, right. I'm not going to get back to that first point again, right? Right. So I'm going to stop you right away.
That's right. I would enjoy
That's
probably.
Why I do. I probably shouldn't have been over talking though.
Oh no. I actually attributed most of it to the delay. We have a sick ass delay between you and between them. I attribute most of it to that. Anyway, the Phil Bros, I noticed that somebody talked about this individual who called as a Phil Bro, and I was thinking that would be very interesting to see Dairy Fiend have this discussion, because Dairy Fiend is the person we were talking to on the phone earlier, who's I think is I don't want to insult him by calling him a Phil Bro, but he's a Phil Bro sort of from our side. And I would very much enjoy watching them.
He just admitted he was a Phil Bro, so
that's why I gotta stop. Like halfway through the conversation with him, I'm like, dude, stop arguing with this guy. He's on your side. I'm like, all right, dude. I'll go read. Cheryl is here. Good morning, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us this morning. Man, you guys are awesome. 1 Corinthians. Hey, isn't that funny? You guys were talking about people are you a Paulinian? She's a Paulinian. I didn't know she was a Paulinian. Let me just check something here. There we go. Now, today's Tuesday. So, yeah. Allegedly, Apostle Paul wrote the Corinthians, right? So, he also wrote, allegedly, John. Who wrote John, allegedly? Oh, okay. No. John allegedly wrote Mark. I got a lot to learn. I got a lot to learn. Much to learn. 1 Corinthians. Yeah. Very interesting. I want to tell you though, Miss Melissa, I appreciate your effort. I don't look up scriptures. I do not. If you want me to know what that says, you go write it and you put it in the chat. I'm not going to look it up. I may even talk about it if you put it in the chat, but I'm not going to go look it up. I am over it. Not going to happen. Nobody knows who wrote John. Yeah, I kind of get that. Nobody really knows who wrote any of these, to be fair. Well, see, part of the reason why, whenever I was talking with Dairy Fiend earlier and he was talking about the Hellenistic author, or had some sort of Hellenistic history, I remember watching the Joseph Atwell thing about how the Romans created Christianity to calm down the Jews. And one of the things that he talked about was how they'd gotten people together, specifically scribes, to write these and put these together. And that would kind of make sense why they were so comprehensive. But it may not be. I don't really know. Hive Size says, I really think it was the delay. I've seen Kelly Laughlin control calls effectively. No, right. I didn't mean to actually get on to Kelly. It was just... It was a timing thing. Really, I
didn't think you were. You were.
At that point, I was trying to hear what he was saying. Anyway, I wasn't trying to get on. It was the delay. Me and Kelly talked about the delay before we even got with the guy. You guys are awesome. And now, thanks to our caller who, I got to watch these other people. Maybe I'm too premature, but I don't know. I watched Ian argue with that guy for quite a while. But maybe I shouldn't set that as the bar to which I measure myself. what I'm saying. The Messiah was to rule in Israel. Jesus didn't. You don't call someone a king before being a king. So Trump was the president before he ran for presidency. That's a good point. I never really thought about that one. That's a good point. Let me go here. Special, you don't seem to know. Oh, yeah. This is something you don't see your own contradictions. Killing kids is evil. God kills his sons. Conclusion, God is evil. I want to mention one of the things that we talked about before was that a lot of these people are very much against child sacrifice. They excuse the reason why it was okay for God to kill, I guess it's the Canaanites at one point, because there's lots of reasons at different times. But somebody was giving their children to Moloch or something. They were sacrificing their children. And people are like, oh, they were sacrificing their children. And that's why they were bad, right? That's evil. That's wicked. That's bad. Jesus is a child sacrifice. God gave his only begotten son. He sacrificed, like walking a goat out into the desert and slitting its throat and casting your sins out on that goat. That's what they're equating to Jesus. Isn't that weird?
Was that killing a child, though? He was 30 years old.
Well, no, it was his son. It was his son. Yeah. Well, and when you think about it, I mean, God was infinite old and Jesus was only 33. So how old is that compared? I'm just saying.
I think of all the innocent children that were drowned in the Great Flood.
That's a good one.
More of a
great example.
Child sacrifice problem to me, honestly.
Yeah. Well, no, I get that. What I'm talking about is whenever they hold up Christianity, Jesus specifically himself is a child sacrifice of the Lord. Isn't that weird? That's just weird. But you're right. I mean, God killing all those innocent children, and then that's kind of a rough thing. And see, one of the things that you're going to find, Miss Melissa, is I'm not going to put up with your shit. I'm not. So, there we Darth Gently's here, Dairy Fiend. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to send all of you wonderful people to go do your thing. Let me see if I can find it. I changed my system up here, my friends. Sorry, 1 second. I want to say thank you for the super chats, but my screen is smaller. I need more screens, dude. I really do. Kelly, while we wait for me to get to the super chats, tell us when you're going to be on Truth Wanted again. Tell us what's going on over there.
I will be on Friday. I just took over as the producer of Truth Wanted last week. I'm still kind of moving into the position, so you might see a little bit of goofiness for the next couple of weeks, but hopefully I'll make the show a lot better. So
awesome. I'm rooting for you. Miss Melissa, I'm just curious, do you have anything you want to say? I mean, you've done nothing but print scriptures, so I'm just curious if you.
Yeah, right. I noticed that. Yeah.
Any last words? Any real words before you never see my channel again? Just curious. Because I got no time for that shit. I'm surprised my mods didn't already do it. And I even told you. I was like, dude, so love you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yeah, you started with read the Bible. You started with that. That was probably a copy paste too. So thank you for your cooperation. Now back to the super chats, to my friends who gave us super chats. Makes you wonder, right? That God just does not send his best. These people, it's like they're not even trying. Let's go here. Sorry, my friends. As I look for the thing, I changed from one browser to another so I could do a thing at the place, and it did not help at all. Fan funding, there we go. So over here, the Atheist Mechanic for $20 said, son of a bitch. It disappeared. I would never worship a being, the Atheist Mechanic. I would never worship a being that would send a person to burn and be tortured infinitively, just for the simple fact of not believing. That isn't loving in any sense. Yeah, you can't love. And it really doesn't matter which version of hell you think of it. The Christian hell altogether is just sickening. Dairy Fiend, thank you for that. Dairy Fiend for $20 says, and sighing deeply in his spirit, he said, why does this generation demand a sign? Truly, I say to you, no sign will be given to this generation. And see, I wonder, doesn't that kind of, and that, thank you for that. That is Mark 8:12. Then see, that's sort of a thing, right? That's like, imagine you're sitting there and somebody's going, well, prove to me. I need a sign that God is real, but you ain't got no signs. Your God ain't real. He's like, you know what? It sucks. This generation demands a sign whenever the other generation didn't demand a sign. Truly, I say to you, no sign will be given to this generation. And now you just excused yourself from having to give any signs and prove that your God is real. Isn't that weird? That's interesting. I'm going to have to write that down. Mark 8:12. It's interesting. The thought that went into these. Of course, we already knew these people don't fess around. Oh, I missed one. Jeremy for Life says Jesus is king. And the Atheist Mechanic says Jesus is king of nothing. LOL, had to make it accurate. There you go. I missed those super chats in the beginning. I appreciate you all. What a contentious day. It actually proved none of the miracles happened. I got so much to learn. Kinsey asks, what's a Philbro? A Philbro is one of those people who are really big into the philosophy. They want to argue the deep down philosophical nature of every little thing. That's best as I got it. It's pretty sharp, usually. And then they come at you, oftentimes they gish gallop you with a whole bunch of things all at once. Generally. That's why I was like, I'd like to see them counter that. That'd be fun. Anyway, guys, I'm off to save the world. Kelly, thank you for joining me today. Oh, Matthew Mulkin King for $5 says, if you want to read the New Testament chronologically, start with Paul's letters. That's an interesting thing too. So that's kind of what I want to do. That's what oftentimes on my channel, my friends, I will cast an insult upon somebody. I'll say, like, I know you don't understand what I'm talking about. Have a smart person explain it to you. I say that on my channel as a joke to other people. In my case, I find that's real. I really do need to find somebody who knows about it and explain it to me and give me a good starting point, because just opening the book and going is not going to get me where I want to go. So thank you for the super chats very much.
Listen, historically, isn't John and I think Matthew are the oldest that we know of from the papyri P90 and P104. I think those are the oldest copies of anything in the New Testament we have. And that's John and Matthew. So I don't know that the letters of Paul are first. They're definitely after Jesus, right? And historically, we found them, they are older than what we know.
Yeah.
Well, what we found anyway.
That's what I've heard. All right, guys, I got to go. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you, Kelly, for joining me. Guys, we will see you tomorrow, and tomorrow's Wednesday, and it'll probably just be me. I'm going to try it. We'll see. I don't know.
You can do it.
I know I can do it. I don't like taking calls. I don't like arguing with people.
I'll be on the sideline probably.
If I need you, I'll holler. If I need somebody to yell at somebody else, me and you can yell at them together. Somebody asked.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, we got to go. All right. Thank you all, my friends. See you later. Sin safely, my friends.
When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. Smell the goat in a holy zone. Father Flanigan, here to set the tone. Confession booth, busy, no need to stress. Light a candle and forget your mess. Gross odors vanish like sins in the wind. With each wick, guess who's your new best friend? When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. Smell the goat in a holy zone. Father Flanigan, here to set the tone. Lambs and calves may have their day, but goat's the scent that leads the way. Clean your slate with a sniff so pure. Father Flanigan's got the cure. Turn your home into a saintly space. With every whiff, find redeeming grace. From your living room to the kitchen,